Good afternoon, all of you. On behalf of the Professional Development Committee and the Task Force for Women Empowerment of the Western India Regional Council, the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, I welcome all of you for the special Navratri series of the Shakti of Knowledge, Power of Transformation, CMA Leading in the New Era. Today is a day 4. Our topic is entrepreneurships and startups, CMA as a strategic business leaders. Our today's faculty, CMA Maithili Malpure Madam. I welcome Madam. She is an academician with 15 plus years in the pro, field of a professional training, coaching in the fields of finance and cost management. As an academician and subject matter experts on cost management, accounting, and financial management, she is impaneled as a visiting faculty, lecturer, and coordinator at ICMAI, YCMOU, IGNU, Nasik Sub-Centers of Pune University, SPPU. She acts as a visiting faculty in various colleges across the Pune University and various private universities. She is also oral coaching faculty in ICMA chapters and mentors various professionals and traditional courses students. She is also a practicing cost accountant having core domain in taxation, audit and assurance and have an identical presence in Nashik, Pune and other cities of North Maharashtra. I welcome Madam for the today's session and I request Madam to kindly start the session, please.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for the warm welcome.
Thank you, sir.
It's always nice to be a part of an event of WRC. May it be a Women's Day, may it be a Navratri, or may it be any event. Before I start, I extend my thanks to the WRC team and all the RCMs as well to give me this opportunity. I thank all of you well in advance only. I know Thanksgiving is to be done at the end, but upfront, I wish to thank all of you. As we are today here with a vibrant topic, I hope I'm audible. Hello?
Yes, Madam.
Yes, thank you. So, as today here, we are with a vibrant topic as in our own stream and our own expertise, that is entrepreneurship and startups. And we, as a CMA, are acting there as a strategic business leadership. Like we have a leadership in this area as well. So, I really wonder many of the time when people say, like, may it be a member or may it be a student or anyone, that we are having less scope and we are not having new avenues for the practice. But there are many more avenues upcoming, and actually there are existing also many avenues which are not touched. Many of the avenues that we can do, that we can proceed further, are yet untouched, and we can say that they are ignored or very few professionals have focused onto them. So the today's topic is also one of the same. That is, we have a great opportunity in the area of the entrepreneurships and the startups. Here we act as an consultants or we act as a professional who guide them in all aspects, right from the birth of their business, which we called as a startup. So the presentation. Is the presentation visible to everyone? Hello. Can someone just confirm whether the presentation is visible? Hello.
Yes, yes,
Visible?
visible.
Yeah. Yes, yes. Thank you. So today here we are to see how CME can become a strategic business leader in the eras of entrepreneurship and the startups, wherein the people are having their own aspirations and their own dreams to get them into the real world. So entrepreneurs are the dreamers who dare to do. I would just like to quote one famous saying: entrepreneurs are the dreamers who dare to do, but CMAs are those architects who make those dreams sustainable and take them further. So we are the people who are going to help them in actual architecting their own dreams and take it further and bring it into the actual existence. So I just would like to ask, like, you people can just share with me if possible. I don't know whether it's allowed or not. The permissions are given to you people or not. But just let me know how many of you are aware that what all avenues we have in the entrepreneurships and startups. How many of you are aware about it? Anyone? Okay. Let me just take it further. Let's start with a basic thing and try to understand that when we are saying that we have more focus and we have more avenues in the startups and entrepreneurship. So by startup exactly we mean what? So startup is something which we can call as a young innovation driven business venture that is designed to grow rapidly by solving some problems in some efficient manner and in some innovative manner. It's not like the traditional business that we have seen in our earlier generations have seen, but the characteristics or the three main biased. So let's try to see what are the startups. So basically, as I said, that we can classify the startups into three categories. The first one could be the innovation driven. That is, they bring a new product or a service or a process or a business model to market, often using some technologies or some like innovative ways, or some doing the same things, the old things in the creative approaches. This is the first category, which we call as an innovation driven, like the first part. The second part comes as a problem solving orientation. What is problem solving orientation? Like there is something existing in the market which is having some or the other problem which is faced by many, and there is something which everyone knows that this might be the solution, but no one comes up with that. So the second type of startup could be the problem solving orientation, the business startup. So the problem solving means these startups are really finding the gaps, the inefficiencies, the undefined or what you can say identified needs, and they aim to provide some. So it's an easy way that can help some other businesses or the lifestyle. So just to come up with both again, once again, first one was the innovation driven, which means that there was nothing as such earlier, but now I have innovated something new, which some like some of may have not even thought of it. So I have innovated something new. But the second one comes as a problem solving, that everyone or the alternate, each every alternate person was facing that problem, but they were not able to solve that. So the second type of innovation would be that it is solving those problems. Then the third one is the agility and the adaptability. What is agility and the adaptability? We can say that we are here to have the resources and experiment them. Like use the resources, experiment them, and we can go for some adaptive things. While we can have some uncertainties, of course, but also we as a consultant, we as a professional, give these resources and these uncertainties refining in the refining manner to the people, so that these innovations get benefit of our knowledge and our expertise. So in short, we can say that startups are not just the new businesses. Like anyone, if we ask a layperson, says that what is startup, if we ask them, then they just say that yes, it's a like a new business coming up. But it's not only that. Of course, it is a new business, but it is not only the new business, but it is a high potential venture, we can say, which is about to grow rapidly, having a leveraging innovation and the adaptability, which is finally going to solve some meaningful problems and come up with the more solutions and the more lifestyle making easy or the businesses making easy. So that is going to be the easiest part that we can say the startup is. If I say what exactly we can, I'll just go back. I just want to like I was just focusing on to this that we'll having the lean operations and then the sustainability growth. Just to highlight one thing, India is the third largest startup ecosystem globally. Throughout the world, throughout the globe, we can say that the third largest startup hub is in India. We have almost 1 lakh startups and 100 plus unicorns and cultures of innovations that are reshaping the industries. Just to give you some like more details about it, total recognized startup today, which are registered and having some or the other existence, like virtual existence, we can say, as per business standard, is around 1.8 lakhs. And they have some or the other recognitions goes or they are funded from some recognized authorities like that. There are other unrecognized and unregistered startups as well, but this is the small number. And this started right from 2016, wherein in 2016 it was just 500. The number that I told you right now, it is around 1,80,000, was far away in the June 2025. After that, business standard has not given the details. So this was the limit from 2016 to 2025. We can say within this time span of 9 years, the number has gone from 3 digit to literally 6 digit. So you can understand, like I believe that the audience here are getting the avenues and they are just eager to understand what all we can work into these areas. So these are the like this is just a start. Registered entities, as I told, these are the now. If I talk about the unicorn count in like earlier, it was just three among the India. Right now we have almost 120 to 125 unicorns. Unicorn means whose startup value is more than or equal to 1 billion US dollar. So out of these, we have almost 1,000 unicorns. So you can understand how huge these startups are getting established in India. If we talk about how much job they are creating, initially these startups were focusing or these startups were giving scope to only the IT sectors, the healthcare, the life sciences, and etc. Like at the large. I don't say the other sectors are not getting the scope, but at a large, it was just focusing on IT services, healthcare, and life sciences. But slowly and gradually, it has now expanded and it has now reached to the each and every sector. And if we talk about the numbers, up to June 2025, it had offered direct job numbers. Okay, of course, this is only for the registered and the authorized fundage and all that number that I told you earlier. So out of those, they have directly given jobs, not through any connects or anything like that. The number for connects and the references is different, but the direct jobs that were received because of these startups is 17.7 lakhs. The number of jobs that I'm talking about, the number of positions is 17.7 lakhs. And it is just up to the mid of 2025. So, like how they are focusing and how they are moving further, don't know. Don't know. I'll explain. What is the role? The government of India is having this initiative since 2016, and right now they have recognized and they have given incentives as well. So why? What are the reasons why such startups are developing and getting more in numbers? Directly, the number has gone the three times. Like it was just a three-digit number, and now it is a six-digit number in the time span of 9 years. So why is it so? Because even the government has started getting benefits of it. Central government is focusing more onto the subsidies and the incentives and the recognitions to such startups. Further, also it is the is getting easy and it is getting various relief under certain labor laws, environmental laws. So, like I can simply term it as in they are getting some regulatory ease, and it's based on various upfronts. It's based just on the self certifications. So it becomes easy for people to develop their ideas and get it into the existence. So for that reason, we can say that startup are growing more right now. Further, if we talk about the funding, the government schemes are the also not just government, but there are various private investors who are interested in these startups. Reason being, they find some potentials into it and they are helping many startups up to the unicorn scale status. So I defined it here. What is unicorn state? Unicorn state is something which is having minimum startup value of 1 billion US dollar. So you can just understand what might be the scope of that particular startup and how much quantum, at what quantum they are working. If we talk about the how geographically widespread our Indian startups are, then we can say that from tier 2 to tier 3 cities, from metros, each and every part of our country is covered by such startups. We don't have startups just from the metro cities. We don't have startups just from the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities, but also from the rural areas. Especially when we go for the businesses like agricultural and so, there also we have various startups coming up and they are also succeeding and they are also helping in developing their GDPs. So that is just going to help us into our national growth. Fine. You all might be thinking, like, am I here to give the theory part of the subject? Of course not. I told you here all these details only for one reason that here we have a major role. And what are roles we can have here? First is when the business starts, there has to be many important things to be done. I am aware that each one of you knows that, but just to recall few, there are three areas or three roles wherein we as a CMA can perform. The first one is the financial modeling. The second one would be the cost optimization, everything like covered under the cost and the compliances. After all these are our core areas, and after all these also we help them in governance and strategic support. So, how to do this or how to proceed further this? So, what is our role is we help them in the ideation, we help them in the validation, we help them in funding, and also we help them in the scaling. So, how exactly we do all these things? So, first of all, we have some financial modeling techniques that in which we are already expert. So we help them in these projections, we help them in their sensitivity areas, and we also give them proper valuation models with help of which they come up with various new solutions and to complete their or to fulfill their dreams. This is the base for. Further, we can also help them in supporting their decisions in regards to their investments, getting merged with some other startups, or having some new project or any other thing. So, in short, I can say that if we are their financial modeling or if we are their if I go for that option. So, in easier sense, I can just say them that for each and every if and I'm here to help them as a cost of. If we go for the second aspect of the CMA as an cost optimization, wherein we help them which are like the what you can say untouched or ignored areas, especially when it comes to startups or MSMEs. It is the cost drivers and the areas wherein they have their inefficiencies or wherein they incur the cost, but they are not considered. So these are the areas wherein we should focus and we should make them also aware to where exactly there has to be the cost identification, cost optimization, and of course the cost control. We can also help them with various techniques such as activity-based costing, standard costing, variance analysis, and etc. But the more important is we need to help them in process improvements. What exactly systems they are using? We need to help them in improving those processes. We need to help them in lean methods. Like if you like I showed it here as well. See here. We have to help them in the lean operations. We have to help them in the data analytics. We have to help them in the community sustainable growth as well, and of course the risk management. So that is what is required for us union to help in the startups. So these are the strategies that we can use. With these strategies, we can not just help them in controlling the cost, but also improve their efficiencies and profitability, of course, so that not only their existence and not only their sustainability, but also their growth can be ensured. If we talk about the compliances, of course, we can help them in compliances regarding the taxation laws, regarding the corporate laws, and other basic regulatory requirements. We can help them in their proper documentation and processes. And also, the most important thing that lies with us is we can help them in the best part. That is, we can help them in monitoring the internal controls, the standards that they need to follow in their organization so that they can ensure the compliances as well and they can ensure their what we call as an the sustainability and their profitability and their of course the efficiencies. The last important role that we can play, like first one as we discussed was the financial modeling, the other one was cost related, third one was the compliance related, and the last thing that we cannot ignore is the governance and the strategic support. We as an auditor, like irrespective of the position of the auditor, we as an auditor, we are normally ethical and transparent for the financial activities, but we also act as an watchdog. So as we are acting as a watchdog, what helps them when we act as a watchdog, what helps them is they are getting provided with us with the various inputs related to the risk management, maybe sustainability, maybe reporting, maybe corporate governance, maybe various frameworks that they are required to follow. So, like this, it helps them only when we follow our own transparencies and our ethics. We also can help them by advising them in various managerial activities and strategic decision making and give them some financial insights with the help of which it becomes really easy for them to take up some decisions and to come out of various dilemmas. So likewise, we can say that we can help to the small startups as well and also to the unicorns. So once when I was just having this similar discussion, I asked like if the people sitting in front of me that if I have given you a investment of rupees 10 lakh, in which sector would you invest? So, Pujanka ma'am, have we given audience that they can talk? Can audience just have interaction with me?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay, thank you so much. So I would just like to ask you people the same question. Had I given you 10 lakhs rupees to invest, basically, further which may be increased. So in what sector would you like to choose and why in that sector would you like to invest as a startup, of course? Anyone? I know you people might be thinking because the question was just asked randomly and all of a sudden, but I understand your areas of investment could be something like technology, something like healthcare, something like FMCG, or the renewable energy, or the real estate, or the education, fintech, like any number of sectors are there. And I understand many of you might be confused at the last moment what to answer. Even we are thinking here just from a part as a concern, how we are going to help them. We are just thinking as professionals. But what if we really get a chance? We have these opportunities. So, like, best of luck and take this thinking over later on. Let's come back to our topic. Just to, I didn't like what you can say. Just to, to potential in that project. What are the risks versus returns? What is the social impact of this activity? What is the innovation possible and what are the future? So, with this certain factors, we can help them in their this stage of ideation and validation so that let's say we are done with we are helping, we are guiding and consulting on our then go on how go for the bootstrapping, how they can find out the venture capital, like venture investors or the angel investors. Accordingly, this becomes the next step wherein it becomes a really challenging task to get the funds. So we can give them various perspectives. Some might be the traditional, some might be the new age, but we need to give them various aspects and the perspectives for this funding aspects as well. So for this selection part, may it be the idea or may it be the funding or may it be at what scale they have to operate. For any of these problems, we need to keep on guiding them, consulting them, helping them by asking few questions every now and then. As in, why do you think this sector is safer or riskier than others? Whatever they think as in. Or why do you prefer for long term, or why do we prefer for short term? Like whatever they are going for, like whatever option that they are going for, or how does government policy is going to help you, or how does technology is going to influence your option. So these questions, when are asked to the startups, they have more their ideas getting into deeper sense, and they dive more into the deeper, what you can say, their ideation part, so that it becomes easier for them to come up with a better and clear idea. Sometimes there is a like confusion. I want to do this. Okay, I want to do an A activity. Now, how to do that activity, from where to start, they are unaware. But the point is, we as a consultant, we as a professional, if we keep on asking these questions to them, what happens is even we get an idea to exactly what services we are about to render and how we are going to help them. And at the same time, it helps them as well how they have to come up, or how they have to proceed further into their startups and their ideation stage. Might be not just ideation, but also the further stages. So it helps them in building their financial awareness, critical thinking, and various decision making aspects as well. So this is what is more important that we can focus on. Now the question is how the CMAs, just as an focusing onto the managerial aspects, the cost aspect, can help. Yes, we can help them by turning their numbers into strategy. So how we can help them by turning their numbers? Yes, we as a cost accountant have that superpower of playing with the numbers and costs and everything. So we can do proper cost analysis, we can do proper cost control techniques, we can use them. And with the help of this, we can say that how to use a single rupee better, in the better and the more better sense we can help. So we can help them in using their in single rupee, optimize their resource and scale their sustainability, and give them more life. So this is how we, with the help of our expertise, can help them. So if we just try to list down and just come up with the same, like some crucial, what you can say, the superpowers that we can have, like so-called superpowers we have, which we can of course call it as in superpowers. So first was the, I can help them by identifying the hidden cost, redesign the cost structure, then how to go for the startup leads, and how to be more competitive. So this could be my first aspect, which I can say that it is regarding the cost. Second is regarding the financial aspects, wherein I can help them in forecasting different business scenarios. Like identifying various or forecasting various business scenarios includes the risk, opportunities, and helping them to have move from one to another. Like might be earlier they are having some one move, like they were initially having a startup which was at the retail level. Now they are directly from retail level jumping to the distributorship level. So what exactly? Like I'm just measuring this from the type of business sense. Of course, not every startup could be classified like this, but I'm just trying to tell by these words the scale of their organization. Just so how they can make their big moves, or what is the time where they have to come at the back foot? Is the scenario feasible for the business or not unfeasible, like it's not favorable. So at that particular time, we as a consultant can help them in the each and every aspect. Also, we can go for the compliance wizardry. What is compliance wizardry? It means we can 100% help them in the compliances. We can 100% help them in focusing on their growth without focusing on the legal aspects, or the no, actually not legal aspects, we can call it as a, without having any legal hurdles. So if they focus onto their growth and we are here to help them in compliances, we can say that yes, they are not having any complaint regarding the compliances, because We as a consultant are getting those and the last one would be, of course, regarding the risk and the governance that they need to do. Reason being, how I can help them. Let's try to understand that when we help them in covering their cost in the least possible manner, or when I like just discussed couple of minutes before, when I can say that yes, I'll help them in managing each single rupee. So here we are ensuring their financials. We are getting them well governed. We are getting their financials more transparent. We are asking them to behave more ethically. And slowly and gradually, with the help of all these, what you can say, the techniques and the what you can say, the entire processes that we are asking them to follow. With that, they are going to grow and sustain and develop like anything. So this is what is the role that we as a cost accountant become. Someone has messaged me like, can you please explain us at all these stages how can we help them? So yes, of course, at ideation stage we can help them in the developing their business idea, doing their brainstorming for their innovative solutions. But before that, we also need to identify problem for them or of them. Also, we can help them in defining the vision, mission, and value propositions. So that becomes easier for them to get their ideation. So, like just to take an example, like if someone is having a business idea of some service rendering, so we can ask them that why this service you are initiating? What is the problem that you have found out? So we can just start with the identification of the problem and then we can tell them, do you really think that your service would be helpful? Do you really think like we don't have a role of demotivating them, of course, but we are going to pitch them with so many questions that they themselves become more clear with their ideas and they come up with more valuable outputs and the business outcomes, of course. So this is what we can help them in the ideation. If we talk about validation, what we can say is if we check what their idea is and if we try to validate it properly, validate means just to check whether whatever output they are expecting or whatever output they have projected, what is the viability of that particular product or service in the market, or how much like we can also build their minimum value, minimum viable product as well for them. So this is the thing that this is the minimum thing that you can consider as unviable. Or also requested that like these techniques will help them in redefining their ideation what they have done. Because many of the times it is found that ideation is done. It is very ideal in nature, but some part of it is not realistic. Not realistic in the sense cannot be executed. It's realistic, of course, it can be implemented, but it's we're having various difficulties and problems in the existing scenario to get implemented. Like, I don't think so 10 or 15 years back, anyone from us might have expected that we would be taking classes and we would be taking courses and meetings and lectures online. Though we were aware about various platforms like Google and video calls were there, but everything. But the point is, many of us were not aware about these things, or we were not having that like any vision like yes, we could have that we will be doing like this also. So like this, some innovative things and validations can be done for upcoming ideas, may it be related to the product or may it be related to the services. So this is the thing that we can help them in their validation part so that we check their feasibility and we check how they can get entry and get they can get fit into the market. After that, we can move for the third step, which we call as funding. This is most important because anything that is on paper can be executed only with the help of the funding. After that, So, like after that, in the sense, just to identify funds is the big scope for we as a consultant to help them. How to secure the funds, from where to get, how to get the fuel growth. That all depends on the entire part that we call as an funding. So how can we do it? It could be bootstrapping, it could be angel investors, as I told earlier. It could be the venture capitals, it could be the like various government schemes and subsidies and everything. So it's really important to understand we can say that we are their saviors and we can help them in fixing the proper decks, the proper financial models, and going for the proper financial options. We can also help them in enhancing their what you can say the product, the service, or the team and operations, of course, on basis of what funding we are suggesting them. Because all depends on the cost behind the funds that is being obtained by the business and the time period for which such funds are being taken. So we are done with the one, two, three, ideation, validation, and funding. Moving on to the last part, that is scaling. Here, now they have already entered into the market. Now we are helping them in expanding the operations. We are helping them in entering the new markets or to enter into the more diversified outputs we can say, maybe products or services. We can also help them strong business processes, or we can help them in building those processes. We can help them in more better governance. We can also assist them in technology systems. With this, we can focus on the profitability, sustainability of the business, and also how the business becomes the leader in that sector could be taken care by. So scaling helps in that manner. So in short, if we talk about all these four, we can say that first of all, have an idea, get it proved. Proved means like what do you say? Get it verified, then have money for that idea, and then expand. Like really easy four-step easy method that we can follow. Just have a realistic idea that we could go for, then get it foolproofed, get it verified, and have money for that. And then it's really easy for us to go for such what you can say the upscaling and expansion and everything. For this, if I just recall, there are few business ideas, and there these some ideas were pitched in the famous show as well, that is Shark Tank. And there are many ideations available at that particular thing. So, what exactly we can help them is, and we need to focus on to various things when people start pitching their ideas. Like we were talking about the ideation. So in that case, if you like, I know that each one of us has focused onto the various financial aspects, and then especially the professional people come in the shows like Shark Tank. We are very keen about those dialogues. So what we have understood and what we need to further work on is when people have their own pitch, when people have their own ideas coming out at that particular time, it's very important that they focus onto their sector, their product, or the service, and the reason or the question what they have solved. Like what was the problem that they have solved with this new startup? And of course, they need to stand unique. If they are not unique, we cannot call them as a new startup or innovation or something. Of course, with this, we need to continuously help them in answering the questions like what is your target market? How can you make more revenues? Or how are you more revenues to take it? The second aspect, but how are you actually going to make revenue is the initial stage that is they should deal with. And they should also prove themselves that how they are different from the other competitors. So that is more important. After that, as we already discussed that we are going to help them in cost structure. But initial responsibility of us as a cost accountants is we get them at break-even point as early as possible. So there just we cannot just say that they should sustain, but also we should help them in getting them themselves at the break-even point. So with the help of that, it becomes easier for them to really sustain, and then once they sustain, then they can think of further development. So that is what is more this initial part. So we have seen various cases which were there, wherein we as an consultants have also come up with the various ideas. So this could be like there are many examples. Let's not just discuss those examples, but let's see how we can use our leadership in them. So first leadership style that we can use with such type of innovations could be the transformational leadership. Means what? They are doing by default an innovative idea. A startup has to be an innovative thing, something that is different. They have to prove themselves different. This is all what we need. But at the same time, we also need to have and distinguished leadership to be given to them. So, what are the CMA leadership styles that we can further understand? Okay, this is what we have discussed. Okay, this. So, how can we help them is in their vision, we can help them in the leadership style, which is called as a transformation leadership. What is transformation leadership? The leadership that is having the strategy or the leadership that helps in transforming their business strategy. That is more important. It helps them to go for more digital finance tools or the automation or data driven decision making so that what happens is basically they have their idea wherein they are not aware about the innovative things upcoming with us. But what they can do is they can further move with more innovative ideas and more innovative techniques at the initial stage itself, which makes them more unique and the startup comes more innovative and more successful right from initial stage itself. Second could be mm, the servant leadership. What do we mean by servant leadership? So that we help them in going for the basic things. As in, we guide them, we guide their teams, we guide their small groups to understand the financial literacy. So servant leadership literally means we are helping their employees. We are providing our benefit of our leadership to their employees. The human resource we can call. So we can make them aware about the financial aspects. So financial literacy drive could be taken up. Then we can also make them aware about the them in the documentation part, which is helpful for budgets, uh, for procuring the resources and also the application of the resources. Building trust is also an important thing. Hence, we need to work more onto the human resources than onto the other. So for getting better compliances, transparency, and everything that we talked about earlier as well. For that thing, we need to work onto the human resource and we need to prove our leadership there as well as in consultants so that we get all the things done with them. Then comes the third type of leadership, that is the agile leadership, which we can say that it is a responsiveness. It is the most flexible type of leadership, and also we can call it as an adaptable, the most adaptable version of our leadership, wherein we help them in quickly adopting few financial models. Because many of the times it happens that they opt for option A, and market conditions suddenly changes and move for some third, fourth, fifth option. So there are various market disruptions. So in this scenario, the businesses, such startups, such newly born businesses need to adapt their models and their flexibilities as early as possible. So in this case, they should go for the proper adaptation. We can help them via a guide leadership method to go for these things and get acquainted with this and also to make most out of it. We can also help them in providing the real-time dashboards and insights. It's really, as of days, really possible. We very often we find the real-time dashboards everywhere. So we can help them as well that up to this minute you have reached up to this cost level, or up to this minute you have incurred these elements of cost, or up to this level you have earned this much revenue. So likewise, we can help them in real-time dashboards, which helps them in taking up the decisions. That's the next part. But which keeps them updated and which keeps them aware about. So what happens with these dashboards is even each and every small employee also who is not having much more responsibility also becomes more responsible and cautious about it. So as in the earlier type of leadership, as I told, like servant type of leadership or a human resource type of leadership, which I was talking about, therein we make them aware. So likewise, here also we make them aware. And of course, not we need not use all the type of leadership at a time, but we can be a transformation leader when there is a vision required to the organization. We can be a guide leader when there is adaptation required, the adaptive nature is required, the navigation is required. And we can be a servant leader when there is some ethical support required, when there is some compliance is required, governance required. So as and when required, we can use all these we can use all these leadership techniques that can be there. For this, I just recall one famous quote which says, startups serves as an hubs for the innovation. They generate jobs, boost employment, and contribute to the improved economy. So, of course, startups are the what you can say helping the economy, but at the same time, the innovation, the new jobs, and employment is the very crucial part that they are playing, and they really fuel all these things. So it's very beneficial for the country as a whole because it's helping in the innovation. That's one aspect from research and technology point of view. But the important thing that they're helping is between the strengthening of the economy. Not we can say that this sector alone can help us in achieving the trillion economy. Sometimes we as a consultant may also get into the dilemmas that how can we deal with the situation. Sometimes it may be like exactly how we should guide them and how we should help them in decision making, how we can help them in the various alternatives available. So in that case, what we can do is we can help them in getting the budget more efficiently and get it significantly, what you can say, analyzed. Then we should discuss on to various points, as in, should we continue with the project at the same level or shall we scale up or scale back? These questions really helps. How to control cost, how to control cost without compromising, how to control cost with cutting down some avenues into it. So there might be some other options as well. How to have better communication with the stakeholders so that we can develop more. So with these discussions, we can help them in various angles. Like they can have the variance analysis done by us. So they can take up some decision based on those variances. We can also suggest them some cost cutting strategies by the question like how do we control the cost without compromising the quality, or shall we scale up or shall we scale back, or should we cut down few elements of our services? So we can help like with these even we come to know what are the essential elements and what can could be ignored. So with help of this, we can help them in cost cutting strategies as well. And on basis of all this, we can help them in forecasting the future impact on their profitability, efficiency, effectiveness, and sustainability. So with this, we can help them. But what we discussed right now was just the 30% part when, let's say that uh, they are having like first aspect that is cost overrun. So if they are moving ahead their cost, as I told you that we can have their real-time dashboards. So if the real-time dashboard is giving me the output as in they are going for the cost overrun, then I can help them with these questions like should we scale back? Should we cut down? So with the help of this, we can make them understand that what are the impacts of these scenarios and decisions on their upcoming profitabilities and your upcoming, what you can say, sustainable. Second, the issues that they might find would be team conflict on their dashboard, what we talked about. Like someone is, let's say, for example, the sales department of that innovated business, the startup business, is thinking that yes, the production department should produce as and when we are asking them. So this is what is the team A is thinking. What team B is thinking? We are not getting the raw material at time. So here the conflict starts between the teams. Like I was giving an example, there might be some other scenarios and there are more scenarios as well. So with this, what happens is there might be some team conflicts as well. And sometimes the conflicts are between the not actually the teams, but the two scenarios. As in, someone is favoring the some of the teams are favoring the tech-based, the technology-based activities, but few human resources going for the skill-based activity. So with these dilemmas, with these disagreements, and all have their own priorities, all have their own deadlines, all have their own resources allocated to them. So by staying in their own limits, how can we help them is the real skill of the cost of. So in this case, we can come up with various inquiries with them, asking like, how can we reach to the golden point wherein both the teams can have their some or the other part getting satisfied, or some or the other validations that they need. We also, while doing all these things, while doing the team management, while solving the team conflicts, we also need to make sure that we are having collaboration. We are ensuring their morals. We are ensuring their integrity so that the risk of what you can say having more discrepancies or more what you can say the conflicts between the team. get lesser. So how can we as an CMA act here? We can highlight the cost implications that both the teams are, or more than one team, whatever are there in the conflict. We, we need to highlight the cost implications of what they are suggesting about. Or if it's not there, then we can make them aware about the opportunity cost. We can also make them aware about the ROI that can be gained if option A instead of B or C or whatever might be chosen up. And of course, we need to make them aware about the delays. We also need to make them aware about the risk involved into all those. So this is how we can help them in the team conflict areas. Further, we can say that investor demanding, sometimes it happens that they have investor pressure. What does investor pressure means? Sometimes it happens that investor has lost their patience. Now they are at the negotiation point. They are at their deadlines, they are at their timelines, and they are like, I want my expectations and everything. So we also need to help them in getting the investor pressure conflicts. Because sometimes the investors are from long-term strategies point of view and sometimes they are from short-term point of view. So then, as per the time span required, we need to negotiate the things. We need to negotiate with their timelines as well and their expectations as well. We need to balance our short-term benefits also with the long-term sustainability, long-term growth, and the returns on their investments, and of course, the earnings of the business. So for this, we should help the businesses to have the communication which should be transparent in nature, so that even the short-term investor is interested, and at the same time, even the long-term strategic investors remain in the startups. Because funding is the heart of the startups. Without funds, they cannot be implemented. And if funds are withdrawn in between, we can say that the business which was working just 1 minute before is now no more. So that becomes a problem. So with the help of present financial forecast, we as a CMA can help them in future or upcoming cash flows, the scenarios because of that, the risk assessment, and also with the help of all these things, we can help them and justify the decisions that we are suggesting them to take. So in this scenario, when we have these problems with us, when it is a cost overrun, or sometimes it is a team conflict or investor pressure or peer pressure. Peer pressure means like there is a competition in the market. So this is the unavoidable pressure that we have. So in this all four scenarios, it's a crucial role of an cost accountant that how they are going to use their leadership skills. And we earlier saw that how much types of leadership we can use here. So with this, it becomes easy for us to go further and help them. So in short, I can say that we are trained to lead ethically, we are trained to lead strategically as well, and of course, we are trained to lead inclusively because there are various things which we consider with the help of which we can cover each and every aspect of the business and we include everything into that so that nothing remains what you can say nothing remains back and nothing remains untouched. We cover each and every aspect and with this we can say that yes, we lead them ethically as well, strategically as well, and also inclusive. Just to share my experience with one of the startup with which I was working. It was a startup of my friend, and it was an service sector. Of course, I won't disclose the what you can say the essentials that are there with the clients, but I can just share the scenario. In that startup, it was really very interesting to work. Initially, it was a time frame of the 3 4 months wherein we worked just on the vision, just on the budget, just on the challenges that we were supposed to face or we could face, the probable line items we just listed down. And we worked on those particular challenges and budgets and visions for initially 3 to 4 months. So that we actually took 3 to 4 months to find out the problem itself. We initially knew what the problem was, but we couldn't define it clearly. So just to define the problem, as we saw earlier, here in the earlier stage, that the ideation stage comes here. For this ideation stage itself, in spite of having various technological help, there was a time span of 3 to 4 months that we kept on investing into this, so that we came up with the effective problem. We try to understand we are into a startup. So if we have a strong problem, we can come up with a strong solution. Until unless we don't have that, because here we are going to bridge the gap. There are many things existing. So we need to help our business to bridge the gap between whatever is there, whatever is expected, so that we can reach from our existing to our expectations. After that, once the vision and the budget and everything was coming to the finalization stage, once the problem got defined more proactively and like more clear, after that, it was the position that yes, we can work out into this 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. The 10 specific locations were found wherein the business would initiate its activities. Now, as it was of that scale, so it was the 10 cities wherein the business found its potential start. So this is all we can help them practically. So ideation was also there and the validation was provided accordingly. Now moving for those 10 different geographical locations was not that easy. And every time that doesn't become really easy as well. So for that thing, what could be done is we can go for various options, as in the the option of one funding cannot be like which is used at one place cannot be used at another place. As we discussed about our leadership, our varied types of leadership, we can use it as the situation demands. Likewise, we also can have the various different types of funding at various locations. So in that case, what I did was for all those 10 different cities, as required, as feasible, and as durable or sustainable, the 10 different, not actually 10 different, but 5 to 6 different options were chosen for funding purpose. Of course, 4 of them were repeated somewhere, like, but 6 options were as if the different 6 options were used for funding. So that is more crucial aspect for us. And there our role starts. What we are suggesting them, what we are guiding them, and what we are consulting. Because of our guidance and suggestions, they are going to have their minimum financial risk and they are going to manage all other things based on the consultancy and the suggestions that we are providing. So here our crucial role starts and they and us, both of us get benefited out of this expertise decision. Once that ideation, validation, and funding thing was done, again a role in the scaling, as earlier discussed. In this scenario, I would like to tell you, in scaling, I help them in growing from numbers, which was initially just in a single digit. So, how to help them in scaling? The scaling could be helped by improving the existing or going for an alternative options. As in, the 10 cities were initially identified, as I already told. But then it was observed that those 10 cities were not the exact location that we can move, but all those 10 locations were to be remotely moved from the existing to nearby 5 to 10 kilometers or somewhere 20 kilometers to have more better operations, to have more sustainability, to have more profitability. So once identified the part, we can further upscale it, we can further update it. But initial identification, which was done at the ideation stage, plays an important role. Because while scaling, I suggested them a move of just 5 to 20 kilometers as required, as and when required from different cities, it was different. So the ideation plays an important role because if ideation was generalized and not specific, then scaling creates. And like there are some basic problems during the scaling then. So this should not happen. So basically, ideation should be more specific so that basis on that we can go for more better decisions in other stages. So we can say that we can help them like this. As in, when I say it has to be something regarding the lean pricing, something regarding the validation, something regarding their survival, something regarding their insights, or something regarding their dashboard sort of things. So these many proportion, like these are just some examples that I have put down. So these are just some elements that they can work on. These are just some aspects that they can work on, and we need to make them aware about this. That yes, you should work on your cost. You should work on your validation part. How much it is viable, how much it is validated, how much people are ready to accept it. Your idea is good. We understand. But how much people would accept that? That is also an important aspect. So this is what I would present from my side. If anyone has any questions or if we want to have some discussions about any specific point, we can proceed further. Anyone from the audience, we can have discussion on any specific point. Please let me know. Pujanka ma'am, have you received any questions? We can have question answer session now. Okay, I have some question in the chat, I suppose. Yes. Yes, bootstrapping is something wherein I don't go for the external funding. I
Yes, madam.
start. Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Hi, ma'am. I was
Yes,
asking whether
madam,
you
please.
have received any questions.
One
I
second.
have
Huh?
been questioned right now in the chat box. I'm answering the same. If you have any, you just let me know once I'm answering this, once I'm done with this answer. So bootstrapping is asked. In bootstrapping, what I do is, let's say for example, I'm going for some new startup and I want to have funding of that particular startup. But I'm not very much sure, or might be for any uncertain reason or for any XYZ reason. What I do is I grow my business using my personal savings, my internal cash flows, my like I don't go for any external fundings because I have fear or I have a risk. I find risk in the external funding. So I don't rely on those external funding. I go for my own funding. So we can call it as a self-funded startup wherein you have your own control onto it. It's like one more reason for the self funding is also that you can have your own full control onto your startup. And as and when you gradually grow further, you can generate your own funds with the potential in the business, or then further you can go for the external funds. But until and unless you go for the external funds, you can call your startup as a bootstrapping aspect. I hope I was found well enough. Okay, thank you. Any more questions? Ma'am, you have any questions received? Pujanka, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
There was only one question that I have answered. Do you have any other questions?
Hello. If any other questions, please. Madam, we will wait for 5 minutes.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. Yes. Madam, I think there is no other questions. Then we will conclude this session, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I have already answered Mukherjee sir. What is bootstrapping? You want me to repeat?
Okay, okay, madam. If I
Yes, ma'am.
think there is no other questions from members, now we will officially conclude this session. So on behalf of the Professional Development Committee and Task Force of Women Empowerment of the Western India Regional Council of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, I uh, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Maithili madam and all the participants for participating in the Navratri webinar series. Thank you all. Now we will officially conclude this session, madam. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so
Thank,
much for giving the audience for patience listening.
thank you, madam. Happy Navratri to all. Thank you.
Yes.